Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 8th webinar in the CARICOM Girls in ICT Partnership STEM and STEAM Career Webinar Series, which is a dynamic initiative aimed at empowering both young women and men in the digital age. I'm Jennifer Britton, and I'm the focal point for the CARICOM Girls in ICT Partnership. Our theme this year is empowering young women in the digital age, but as I said before, we also encourage young men to join and be empowered by what they hear. The partnership was endorsed in CARICOM ICT by the CARICOM ICT ministers in 2019 and has undertaken a number of initiatives which help support the region's plans to make its citizens digitally literate. And the reasons for the webinar, as I continue to share every week, is that women are underrepresented in STEM and STEAM related fields globally. Studies have shown that as little as 15% of the graduates earning degrees in STEM are women. And that is despite them achieving and doing very well at high school. Digital technologies underpin all we do in today's world. And so it is our duty as a partnership, we feel, to help prepare the next generation by raising awareness and pointing to STEM and STEAM careers. We really want to encourage others to join. We have 2 more weeks because the real purpose is to open the space so that young persons have a glimpse into the range of opportunities available to them and can make wise, informed choices. Last week, we had 2 speakers, one who spoke of his career in forensic odontology, and I encourage you to look at our website and that presentation. Very fascinating about how we can identify all sorts of things through our teeth. And the second was a sustainable development professional who presented on environmental sciences with a focus on energy and sustainable development. That too will be on our website in a couple of days. I'm delighted to turn today's proceedings over to Ms. Atia Griffith, who is to date our youngest moderator. I hope she'll allow me to say that she's a whole 17. She is here today in her capacity as a UNICEF volunteer, but in addition to that, Atia does several other things. She is deeply committed to her community and the well-being of children. She serves as a child rights ambassador for the Rights of the Child Commission, and she also holds the role of young influencer for the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. Her passion for humanitarian work is what took her to the UNICEF Volunteer Group, I believe. She actively engages in the projects and initiatives there that aim to improve the lives of children and young people. Atia is an inspiration to many. She's already inspired me here for the morning, and her future holds the promise of even greater accomplishments in the field of economics, youth empowerment, as fields of economics, youth empowerment, child advocacy, and climate change. I ask you to help me welcome her today, and I will turn the proceedings over to Atia. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Atia Griffith, and today I will be your moderator in assisting with the Girls in ICT program. So to begin, I will go through the agenda for today's meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's webinar. Our featured presenter, Ms. Vanessa Webb, the author of Chippy the Computer Teacher, will guide us through the fascinating realms of Chippy's world, exploring ICT innovation and diverse career opportunities. Following Ms. Webb's presentation, we'll open the floor for your questions and ideas. Next in line is Ms. Kim Spencer, the subject specialist at the Ministry of Education, Guyana, who will shed the light on vital themes, diversity and inclusion in technology. Following her insightful presentation, we'll once again invite your participation in a dynamic question and answer segment. Our final subject matter expert, Ms. Stepha Philadelphia, a communication and development strategist, writer, and editor, will captivate us with her presentation on careers in art, as well as we'll conclude as usual with a presentation and a Q&A session, encouraging you to share your thoughts and queries in the chat. Without further ado, let's dive into this enriching webinar experience. Joining from St. Kitts and Nevis, Ms. Vanessa Webb will present on the topic, Chippy the Computer Teacher and ICT Innovations and Careers. Vanessa Webb hails from the islands of Navi, the smaller tranquil island of the Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. She's a Caribbean author well known in her community as a poet, playwright, whose genre of writing includes inspirational faith-based books and engaging educational literature of children. She is the owner of Webby Publications, where she also provides writing services to businesses and individuals desiring to produce specialized books. As a woman of faith, she relies on God's help to guide her through every book project. Webby holds a bachelor's degree in business tourism from Anglia Ruskin University and an MBA from the University of the Virgin Islands. She also obtained a diploma in theology from Barbados Conjunctive College and serves in the works of evangelism and children's ministry in her community. With a keen interest in publishing educational books for children and a gift for dissecting and distilling what might be complex information into units of sentences easily understood by others, Webby has taken an interest in becoming a STEM advocate. Her most significant contribution to STEM so far is her recently published book entitled Chippy the Computer Teacher, which was written to both introduce key concepts about how the computer works to young readers and stimulate their interest in computer coding. Her inspiration comes from many sources. In the case of Chippy, an ICT course taken while completing graduate school at UB. In fact, most of the book's content is taken from her class notes and observations of her grandson's passion for video games. Seeing an opportunity to foster curiosity in youth to not only become consumers of IT products, but to learn how to create their own, Webby channeled her own intrigue and web page design into her writing. Hoping to make further contributions to the field of STEM, she's currently working on a manuscript of the periodic table of elements and a book on fractions for lower primary school students. Webby is a mother of 2 grown children and a grandmother to a growing family of adorable grandchildren. She enjoys baking and gardening. Without further ado, I invite Ms. Webby to the floor to commence her presentation. Let's give her our full attention as we embark on a journey of knowledge and discovery. Ms. Webby, the floor is yours.
Ms. Webb, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity, this privilege to share a little bit from my book, Chippy, the Computer Teacher, and also to speak in general on ICT. Are you hearing? Are you hearing? Sorry?
Could you get a thumbs up if persons are hearing in the room, please? Because I received messages that we're not hearing. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Are you hearing?
We can hear you, Ms. Webb.
Yes, okay, great. So thank you very much. And I want to say congratulations to CARICOM for this great initiative. I listened to last week's program and I was further encouraged, even to get a bit more into this field of ICT. First, I want to have a disclaimer. I am not an ICT expert, but I got the privilege of doing a course for an MBA program. And I was so excited when I did my ICT course. And I used that notes to write the book, Chippy, the Computer Teacher. And so I just want to, are you seeing the slide which I'm sharing? I am not hearing.
Can you please put it in presenter mode? It's a bit small. We can see it.
Sorry?
Can you put it in slideshow view so we can see it a little better?
In slideshow. One moment, please. I'm getting my own technician to assist as well.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yes, okay, because we have a tight schedule with time. And
if you use the button that says from the beginning,
Okay, I will go ahead and speak. Okay, because so we can all follow, I think, as I speak. Now, Chippy the Computer Teacher, it is written to inspire youth to find a deeper interest in the use of computers. So I know they enjoy playing games, etc. But it is a eye opener and it's meant to stimulate youth interest, especially in coding and further exploring, what they can do with developed knowledge in terms of how advanced they can get. And I was particularly focusing on building a web page. Of course, we know that is not all to ICT, that is not all to computers and technology and the world that we're in. But it was just to sort of fast track their thinking in how they can advance further as young people, not only to just be consumers of everything that it is there on the market, but how they themselves can contribute to ICT development, even in simple ways. And so I want to say, firstly, that if I am able to produce this book and understand how to build a web page, then I think anyone else in the world can do it. So, and I had to design a web page for my master's program while I was at University of the Virgin Islands. And I was so enjoying coding using HTML and CSS that I think I went a bit further maybe than that was even necessary to get a good grade for the course, because I thought it was really exciting, unraveling and just understanding coding. And it's like you're doing a puzzle and understanding, or rather understanding the pattern. You're following a pattern and you're saying to the computer, this is what I want you to do, and understand how to say that to the computer. And so I got excited about this new exposure to computer science. And I designed what I got a very good grade for my personal web page. And as I got this information, I thought, I would like to design more web pages, but I instead. And so I said, well, I have this knowledge and I really would like to see children, our young people, get involved in building web pages and developing careers in this area. Now, are you seeing the slides now? Can I go through quickly, please? Can I go through quickly?
you're seeing the slides, it's still in the regular view. It's not in presenter mode as yet.
Oh, so we're not seeing.
You can go ahead. You can change the slides as you need them.
Go ahead and advance the slides too, because the time is of essence here.
It says I'm currently sharing the screen here.
I don't know. It says I'm sharing the screen, but right. Okay, so firstly, I want to acknowledge persons who assisted with this project. I usually will send my work to my daughter to edit, and she does a very good job. And I also would like to thank my professor from UVI, Dr. Thomas Lombardi, and he was extremely knowledgeable. And I sent the work to him, and he was quite impressed that he said, oh, you were able to just put this information for children to understand, so he encouraged me to go ahead and produce this book. And also I had a local person who works with who works for us in the field of ICT as well, and I had him review the book, and his name is Francisco Dorset. And so I want to say thank you to all who would have assisted in any way in producing Chippy, the computer teacher. And so Chippy, the whole goal, as I mentioned, is really to challenge children to get a bit deeper and to understand computers and see how they too can make contribution for other people to use what they would have created. And so we have to start to stimulate young minds now. Some of the topics that was touched on, some common types of computers, how do I get to perform my work, hard side and soft side, my capacity. And so Chippy is talking to the students or to the person, whoever is reading this book. Okay, and so we looked at basic application software program, the internet as well, bandwidth, etc. So we'll move on in the interest of time. And I just want to read the first page. So you see how Chippy introduces himself. Hello, everyone. I am Chippy the computer. Some people call me brainy. They think I am so smart. That's because my brain is wired quickly to perform many different tasks to assist my users. Well, it's not exactly a brain like yours. Can I tell you more about me? I am made up of 4 main parts: a central processing unit, please say CPU, that's kind of like my brain. There is also the monitor. I guess that's my face. And that's the screen that's in front of you, etc. So if you go to the book, he is now developing friendship with the readers who are young people. And so Chippy, present some topics, main parts: CPU, keyboard, monitor, mouse, speakers, printers, etc. Just to present some basic knowledge. And he talks about data, and that the information that we input in the computer, we really refer to that as data. And he talks about the memory and how memory is measured in bytes and bits, etc. So like I said, building a good foundation for knowledge about the computer. And Chippy also has a sense of humor as you read through the book. You will see that he does have a sense of humor. And so computer coding. And so Chippy says, we simply follow instructions that we are programmed to follow. Computers are given a set of instructions to process to make work easier or to help solve problems in shorter time. Writing instructions that tell the computer what to do is called computer programming. How do we get to understand instructions? Our instructions are written in languages that we understand. No, it's not written in English. No, it's not French, nor Spanish either, though we can have software with all these languages. We have our own language, well, several languages in which these languages are written by programmers. Really, really smart guys and ladies too. And here we can say girls too as well. And Chippy, he goes on to talk about some of the languages: JavaScript, C++, C, Python, and HTML. And he mentions, and it is mentioned in the book, that at age 6, Katula Katuria made it to the Guinness World Record for completing IBM's AI, that is the Artificial Intelligence certification, in 2020. And he mastered coding using Python. And this is mentioned to encourage young readers that 6-year-old Kataria, he did this. And so you too can learn more about computer coding. Give it a try and explore. And he also mentioned, in the book, we mentioned about networks, LAN and WAN, and the various types of networks how computers are connected. And of course, it is persons are informed that the largest network that we have, WAN network, is the World Wide Web. And there's a distinction between the website and the internet, and that we have websites. They are, the internet has other features apart from websites. And the internet is often used for hosting websites, which include social media platforms and YouTube channels. So it breaks down all of what we can find on the internet. And the internet is also used to communicate as we send emails over the internet. So students get a good grasp of what the internet is about. And as I said, he distinguished that it's not either, website is not another word for internet. Websites are found on the internet. So the children get a grasp, a good foundation of what the internet is about as well. And HTML coding is introduced. Let us look at building a website using HTML. Firstly, we have to decide what website we will be designing and for what purpose. Also, what information we want to provide to visitors to our site. How about a website called Whiz Fun Games Club? Children will be able to log onto your website and have fun while learning. And there is an introduction of basic coding, and all they have to do is follow what is in the book using their notepad, and they can create a website. And Chippy extends congratulations after all of it is done. They can write their names and the certificate in the book. So it is put over in a fun way to take a journey with Chippy, learn more about the computer, and learn a skill. And you can go online, and the book is available on Amazon. Now, at the end of the book, we look at the history of computer technology. And so this is a good way, also a good way to get into ICT innovations. ICT, which stands for Information and Communication Technology, as we're aware, is a broad term that covers a bunch of tech stuff that helps with information. It includes things like computers, software, and the internet. All these things work together to grab, save, process, and share information in our super connected world. It is a super connected world. That's why I can be in Nevis, and so many other persons in various countries are now on this platform. And again, I want to say kudos to CARICOM for this great initiative. Now, ICT emphasizes on the use of technology for effective communication and for better method of imparting and retaining information for those who are studying. And so it is strongly used in the field of academics, but beyond that, of course. And so what are some of the innovations we've had, and we should have the innovations in ICT? We have artificial intelligence, and that's a big buzzword now. You know, and a lot of children, they now have their they now have their, they are into artificial intelligence. They have their software app on the phone that they're using. So they're excited about this, but we don't just want them to be users. We want them to be creators and inventors as well. And so we want very early to introduce to them what are some of the innovations that are there, that they can look to be creative and to learn further about the building blocks, you know, what will get us to the end result of artificial intelligence. And so, as I mentioned, many tech experts believe that AL is like the direction that a lot of us will embrace going forward, even in businesses. Some people are threatened because they think it may mean loss of jobs, but it will also mean job creation as well. And so we have to look at the bright side and embrace where we are in the digital world that we are living in. And closely affiliated to that, which is not on the screen, of course, is robotics. That is also creating some excitement among young people, I noticed. And I hope that girls are also, I know that in St. Kitts Nevis, we had a summer camp with robotics with Dr. Neil, and I know we had both boys and girls involved in that summer camp. Now, also the Internet of Things, this is really exciting, and we see IoT a lot. Many devices are now built with Wi-Fi connectivity, meaning they can be connected to the internet. The Internet of Things has already enabled home appliances, cars, and much more, and to be connected to and exchange data over the internet. So in today's world, we can switch on well, we don't have heating here, but let's say in the US, they can switch on their heating at home remotely from the office at the touch of a button. And here, you know, we can be away and have our camera system set up and see what's going on at home. And I was reading too about, as we look at Internet of Things, you know, there's so many smart things now. There's a smart watch, and there's a smart refrigerator. You can just be away from it and see who's taking stuff from your refrigerator. You know, they have cameras built in, and you just sort of tell them what to do. And this is how, you know, people are interacting with things. We have the Internet of Things. And we also have augmented reality and virtual reality, and people are looking to see how they can commercialize and all the invention that we have there now in ICT. Now I'm going to go on to careers. ICT inventions, there's so much out there. The games that the children enjoy playing, the young people enjoy playing, and a lot also beyond that, we have what we use daily and may not even realize that it involves ICT, and it spans all sectors these days, in health, in even going to the hairdresser, even going to even in church, where we are now using the media, and we are projecting daily. We want people to know what we're doing, and even our daily lives as we go on the Facebook, and people try to communicate more and get more connected to people around the world. And this is how we continue to grow this field, as people are more desirous of how can we more effectively communicate, and also beyond that, to commercialize what we are doing. And so ICT career can include software and application programmers, data analysis, and they interpret and analyze data for business and clients, cybersecurity specialists, they implement security measures in developmental stages when creating networks data, network administrator, oversee an organization's computer systems, troubleshooting, and we always need network administrators. System analysis, they solve business issues, design, implement, and analyze an organization's IT systems. Web developers, create and design processes of a company's website. Data scientists, collect data, identify pivotal questions, and decode pertinent information to a business to maintain its operations effectively. And there are so many options out there now. And I want to close by just talking in 1 minute about the challenges. Very conscious of time here now. Now, Anderson and Chen et al., in their research work entitled Innovation and Information and Communication Technology for Sustainable Youth Empowerment and Socioeconomic Development, have examined the challenges and opportunities of using ICT as an enabler of socioeconomic development by decreasing youth employment in civil societies. Now, while there are myriads of opportunities, the challenge remains that the undesired decline in science, technology, engineering, and math STEM students has led to an unfilled demand in ICT jobs and very competitive environment for non-IT related jobs. As a result, the IT and ICT industry have started to fill its demand for highly skilled software developers and engineers in emerging countries such as India, China, Russia, and Brazil. And the statistics is here to show in terms of the people from various areas in the world, how they are more interested than other world regions. Now, bringing it home here, looking at the Caribbean's readiness for ICT jobs, Professor Stafford Griffin, who works at University of the West Indies in Jamaica, in his research work on the growth rate of CX system subject, implications for meeting the development needs of the Caribbean, reported the following in his abstract. A low rate of positive growth was noted in many clusters of STEM subjects, along with periods of negative growth. It was concluded that at best, the growth rate in STEM subject entries was anemic. And Griffiths posited, in view of the importance of STEM subjects in preparing secondary school students, both for the world of work and for advanced studies that will provide crucial advanced skills required in the workforce of the 21st century, more effective policy and policy implementation in education must be pursued in the region to ensure a sharper focus on STEM education at the secondary level. And so setting this good foundation is important. The Caribbean girls and youth can become leaders in ICT innovations and careers. And we have to have a good educational foundation and choose an area to specialize in and remain focused. And of course, You know, we couple all our skills together and market that, and they can become global leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Levy, for your wonderful presentation. We now transition into the question and answer segment. If anyone in the audience has a question, please feel free to type it in the chat. Your inquiries are welcome, and Ms. Levy will do her best to address them. Or if you like, you can open your mic. My first question for you, Ms. Levy. How do you think Chippy the computer teacher can influence a young reader's perception of technology and coding?
Well, that's the whole intention of Chippy, to stimulate young readers. So first we have to get the book and read it, and everything is clearly laid out. Sorry, because it is written in a way that is easy to read. So I think that is what makes the difference of getting young people excited about ICT and even to learn more about programming, etc. It's written in a very child-friendly way, or user-friendly way, I should say, yes.
My other question, how do different careers in ICT contribute to the development of technology and society?
Yes, we are in the era we're in, led by technology, and of course, people are behind the technology. And so we have to determine, to even in the Caribbean, what we want and how we want our people to be able to be producers, more producers than consumers. And when we're able to and also identify the fields where we want to have more technology at use, I think that all of this can transform our society as we encourage our people to build skill sets. People become more focused. We will not have this, even unemployment levels will reduce once we are able to rise to the challenge and become more competent and can fill these jobs, sorry, these jobs which are there, because, you know, we are hiring people, we are outsourcing a lot when it comes to ICT.
Thank you, Ms. Levy. Another question. Who has been more interested in your books? Children, parents, or teachers?
Sorry?
Who has been more interested in your book? Children, parents, or teachers?
Okay, I've had a good balance. Children, when they see the cover, they're excited about it. They get excited. Parents, they want to be able to sit down and read it with their children. And then parents also, they get to learn some skills as well. And the education, they have had interest as well. Teachers definitely have had interest in the book, yes. I must say though that I'm really now getting into promotional gear where the book is concerned. Yes. Yes.
There is one question in the chat by Commissioner Nicole. Is there a mentorship program for girls who are desirous of pursuing STEM careers? What about teen mothers who drop out of school to give birth? Do they get a second chance?
Okay, so you mean in our island, if we have that program, because CARICOM is doing great things. And at schools, all the children from grade 1, as I'm aware, they are exposed to, they have classes in computer science. Now, we have a very vibrant and I would say what they do, they really are into transformation and giving people a second chance, yes, and that is through our social development program that we have here, and they have their different after-school programs. You know, they identify areas of interest, and beyond that, we also have gender affairs, and gender affairs department, they're very busy in they're very busy in executing programs that allow you to develop your skills, ongoing. So yes, there are opportunities. About 2 years ago, during the pandemic, I think it was too, we had a training in web page design, and these are all always inclusive programs, so anyone can take part. Whereas gender affairs, sometimes they may target persons who are disadvantaged as well, or marginalized. But for us in our school system here, education, I know they're getting ready to revamp even the IT course, because they're looking at having a structured digital education program. Yes, did that answer the question?
Thank you very much, Ms. Webby. Thank you for
Okay.
the today. By any chance, do you have the link for your book?
Sorry, the link for the book?
Yes, for the book.
Okay, I think I placed it in one of the slides. So it's very simple. Once you type in Chippy the Computer Teacher by Vanessa Webb, W-E-B-B-E Webb, it will just show up. And yes, so I want to encourage persons to get the book for your children, and also for adults to learn, because when I learned about coding, I was an adult, and I want to share that I was fearful to take that class because, I can get a bit intimidated. I was a bit, intimidated about, learning all this stuff. And then my professor said to me, Vanessa, you were so apprehensive about the course, and you got the highest grade in the class. And I think that's because, once you explain things to me, and I put myself out, because you have to study, you have to apply yourself. And I want to say to the young people, just put in a little bit more effort and apply yourself, and just look at the concepts and study the information that is there, that you're going to go places once you take it seriously. God helped me to understand a little coding, and I know you can do a whole lot more too, and develop apps and anything that you think will be essential for us to have to help our society in different sectors. So the book is available on Amazon. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And I want to say that our education department, they are also looking forward to seeing what else is there to get involved in where girls is concerned in ICT. Thank you. God bless.
Joining from Guyana, Ms. Kim Spencer will present on the topic diversity and inclusion in technology. Kim Spencer is the subject specialist for innovative education and information and communication technologies within the Ministry of Education Guyana, and has been an educator for over 32 years, of which 25 has been spent in the field of technology. Her role as a subject specialist entails training of educators in areas of technology, supporting peers and government agencies in technology-infused responsibilities, policies, and projects, conducting, monitoring, and demonstrating sessions on technology integration in content delivery. As such, she has hands-on knowledge on the use and impact of technology in schools and learning institutions. She graduated from Cerro Potter College of Education with her trained Class 1, Grade 1 teacher certificate, and acquired her Bachelor of Education at the University of Guyana. Without further ado, I invite Ms. Spencer to take the floor and commence her presentation.
Good morning. I should say good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Excellent, excellent. So, first of all, I must say thank you to CARICOM, Ms. Britton and her team for inviting me to be a part of your session. Additionally, I'm going to go straight into the session because I know we're pressed for time. So additionally, I know that as stated by Ms. Britton, that our females especially have been underrepresented in the field of technology. But I also want to add that it's not just our females. We have also looked at the people with special needs or disability, persons of color, and other minorities. So my topic, we are looking at inclusion and diversity in technology. So let me attempt to share my screen. As a technology person, I'm sure I'm going to have lots of problems doing that. All right, here we go. Share screen. How am I doing as a technology person? All right. And so let me now give you, there you go. So some quick insights on me, and of course, most of that was said in that beautiful introduction. I'm going to go straight ahead. And so here we are. What is diversity and inclusion in technology? When we are looking at that, we need to ensure that we take all of these factors into consideration. Ethnicity and race, special needs, sex and gender, in order to achieve the quality output that we are seeking. Why is diversity and inclusion important in technology? Cultural background, varying talent, bridging the gap, equity and equality. So I'm going to touch briefly on all of these very, very pertinent points. If we're going to look at cultural background, then we have to take into consideration that everyone comes from a different arena in life, in different environment. And if we're going to infuse that to have quality output, then we must be all inclusive. We should not just look at persons that come from a particular background, then we're going to have an unbalanced technological infusion. Varying talent. We all know that not everyone can be plumbers. Not everyone can be programmers. So we need everyone, and all aspects in life is technology. Bridging the gap comes back to what Ms. Britton would have said in the unrepresented persons. We must have a balance in terms of persons with disabilities or special needs, females, people of color, people of different ethnicity and background. That is the only way we can achieve a holistic view in technology. Equity and equality. As my lovely little picture here shows, we look at reality, we look at equality, we look at equity, and we look at liberation. Unless we can address all of this, we cannot and will not achieve equity and equality in technology. So, to reinforce what I would have said, the cultural background provides not only holistic technological understanding, but also promotes a feeling of familiarity. Do you know how beautiful it feels for me? Let me use my example, a woman of color, to visit an entity in China that, we know China is one of the technology giants, and to see females part and parcel of creating programs in AI. And I'm like, oh yes, I'm proud to be female now. So additionally, we have persons that have backgrounds in let's say we have the Muslims, and I am proud to see our moderator, young Muslim, pretty woman of color. So again, that is how we infuse cultural background in technology. Different talent improve and expand technological discoveries. So we all know that if I have a one-track mind, I'm only going to have tunnel vision, I'm only seeing something. Then up comes someone and say, you know what? How about instead of us using a screw, we just use a bolt? There we have technology again. And we must understand that technology is not just computers. We have technologies in every arena and aspect in life. The plumber, the electrician, those are all technologies. It is also of utmost importance to bridge gaps. This improves life experiences and makes the playing field very viable. Promoting equity and equality enhances voluntary collaboration, productivity, confidence, and creativity. Eventually liberation will also be attained. If I am comfortable, then I will give you my all. What can we do? First of all, we should not discriminate or promote discrimination. We need to be confident and unwavering in our goals. Most importantly, we should be willing to step outside of the box. I noticed in one of the questions in the chat, someone asked what are they interested in? That was just before we started. And the response was the use of ICT in public administration and agriculture, diversity and inclusion. How can we use technology to promote agriculture? In Guyana, recently, we are now looking at the technology aspect of promoting our crops, gathering all our data so we know how we will plant our crops pertaining to the weather and all of this. It's, again, diversity, cultural background. This would not be relevant for someone who's living, for example, in Iceland. They have not much place to farm. But again, the Caribbean, persons who are into farming, this is a comfort zone and a welcome technology step for this person based on the background. Diversity and inclusion, we are looking at farmers, not just the white collar jobs, not just the ones who sit with their spectacles like me, looking all nerdy and just coding or tapping away on their keys. We are looking at diversity, inclusion. This is what is making people feel comfortable stepping outside of the box. Now, I have a little chart here that looks at diversity and inclusion. And we are looking keenly at how this should be separated. Now, if you notice, there is one blank section that is empty. This part is what people are running away with, a preconceived idea of that talent and ethnicity should not really play a major role in diversity and inclusion. A lot of places, and I would have experienced that as someone in the technology field for a while, that you are hired or paid attention to based on your gender. When I started technology in the 90s, they said, you're a girl. We know with computer, you're going to have to lose something. You can hold a screwdriver. Here I am now. So again, we look at diversity and inclusion. Okay, now we're going to look at why I chose this topic. And you can read for yourself what the slide is saying. Now, and I chose this person, Dr. Shirley, because here we are using technology with caller ID, call waiting. This is familiar to all our young people now. They live on their phones. I don't know how they survived before phones and our gadgets and special needs. Our blind astronomer developed her own software to analyze notable person. This is my favorite. Women of color, let me rephrase, women, we are creatures of vanity. And this was way back in the 1900s. We had women of color being creative in the technology field. This brings back to culture, diversity, and inclusion. How can someone, let us say a Caucasian, know that, we can use the comb to straighten out our hair because it's too kinky and too hard to control? Black women like me can relate to this. We know the tears when your mom came with the comb and after washing your hair and it springs up like this. So, now, again, we have to salute these persons. Then it was improved on by Miss Walker when she designed the chemical aspect. Hence our relaxers and our straighteners, dark and lovely. And back in my days, we had TCB. So these, again, diversity, inclusion. Additionally, for diversity and inclusion, I like to say, who feels it knows it. And it is important that our environment is not only diverse and inclusive, but we make sure not just mentally and emotionally, but also physically. We need to include ramps for our disabled person. We need to, if someone prefers to work in a closed environment because they're introverted, then we provide that space. That does not equate to you not producing. So in closing, I would like to play this little video from Apple. Where's my little video?
Hi, Miss Spencer. We're not hearing the video if it has any sound. Hi, Miss Spencer. We're not hearing the video. Hi, Miss Spencer. Can you post this video in the chat?
No, ask her if she want to get up.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me, Ms. Spencer?
Yes, my colleague was just telling me that the volume was very low, but I put it up to my highest. I'm sorry. Technology in the making.
Kim, I think you needed to share your sound as well, but you can certainly
Oh,
you can certainly put a link to the video in the chat so the
I
person
will do
can
just
hear it
that.
after, because it looks wonderful. I want to hear what they're saying, so please just put it in there for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will do just that. So in closing, I thank you once again for having me, and I hope that my session was informative in breaking or in doing the inclusion and diversity. I'm now open for questions. Oh, no questions. Lovely.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer, for your wonderful presentation. I actually have two questions for you. What are some common barriers or challenges that underrepresented groups face in the technology field?
Some of the common challenges that they face is they are cast aside per se, in that their needs and their wants are not met because they're in the minority. So that is one of the main challenges that is felt. And being a female, there are times that it might be intentionally or not, but in a male-fused environment, you have, it might not be intentional, as I said, but your simple basic needs for like having a washroom with certain facilities are not there as a female. I think we saw this movie with these lovely Black women. What was it? Something Fences? With the creators of yes, where they had to walk to the washroom. So that is one of the many challenges that minorities face. Also, women of color also face a lot of discrimination because of your background, might be where you come from. In Guyana, we have certain areas. If you're from this area, they don't expect you to do well. They don't expect you to actually flourish or be nurtured. So that is one of the many challenges.
Thank you. Another question. How does diversity contribute to innovation and creativity in the technology sector?
I was hoping for that question first. Now, again, let me use Guyana as a proud Guyanese as an example. We have different talents here. Not everyone can grow up to be a pilot. Not everyone can grow up to be an aeronautical engineer. If we have all of those persons, then who is going to fly and be the commercial on the commercial aircraft? Who is actually going to do something to pay them? So diversity and innovation and creativity, we have to have different talents in order to succeed in life. We look at everything from a different angle, as I indicated earlier. When we look at it from different angle, we come together with a holistic and effective model. Just as how planning this session, you have diverse and different persons coming with different ideas. So hope that helped. Hidden figures, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, since we have two more. What are some of the efforts in your work to promote inclusion in practical ways? And what do you think are the obstacles that prevent some girls from pursuing STEM careers? Do you have a mentorship program that helps girls to pursue their STEM careers?
Oh, we do. We have active robotics and STEM programs open. It was 2 years back, I think it was, that we had a coding session during the girls in ICT period. it was strictly for girls. They were being taught programming and different forms of coding. So that is one. In terms of inclusion, we would have sometimes in partnership with the Ministry of Social Services, we have computer programs specifically for the differently able. Additionally, Office of the President and Office of the Prime Minister, they run after school computer classes for jobs. And when I say that, we are providing dropouts and persons who were not given the opportunity in their previous educational or academic life to have the skills needed, the necessary skills needed to have a job. Every job now requires some aspect of technology. So we have been doing sessions in partnership with different entities and organizations and aid agencies to ensure that we include school dropouts, out of school youths, mothers who were not able, and a whole lot of underprivileged.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer, so much for your time, and we did enjoy this presentation. Please send the link to your presentation in the chat.
I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Now we're moving on to our final presenter for this day. Joining from Los Angeles, California, Ms. Dessa Philadelphia will present on the topic, Career in the Arts. Dessa Philadelphia is head writer and communication strategist at the USC School of Cinematic Arts, which boasts the most competitive, comprehensive curriculum on cinema studies in the world. She works on communication, marketing, and public relations for the school's 7 divisions and is a key contributor to its efforts on diversity, equity, and inclusion. She previously worked as a journalist for many years in staff positions at the PBS NewsHour and Time Magazine, as a contributor to CNN, and as a freelance writer covering politics, education, culture, and entertainment. Without further ado, I invite Ms. Philadelphia to the floor to begin her presentation. Let's give her our full attention as she shares valuable insights and information with us today. Ms. Philadelphia, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. It's morning time here in Los Angeles. Can you hear me? Thank you, Jen, for the thumbs up. I'm so excited to join you all. Thank you, Jennifer Britton and the rest of the CARICOM team for inviting me. As I'm based in Los Angeles and I've lived in the United States for many years, but I'm from Guyana. I grew up and went to high school and studied communication technologies at UG when I was at Queens College as a student. And today I want to talk to you about the application of the communication and information technologies in the arts. I'm happy to see that you're including the A and turning STEM into STEAM, because it's very important for us to think about the stories that we're telling with the technologies that we're developing. And that's where the arts come in, especially in the cinematic arts. We talk a lot about storytelling, and we see the technologies that we use because the cinematic arts would not exist without ICT. We are from the camera to that we use, from the computer that's used to write the scripts, from the camera that's used to shoot the content, to the screens that are used to distribute them and for them to be seen. Every step of the process with regards to developing cinematic content depends on technology. And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today, is the application of technologies in creating the stories that tell that tell who we are as human beings. A lot of the cinematic arts starts with an idea from one person, but the stories end up being very universal. So I work at the USC School of Cinematic Arts, which is widely considered the best in the world at teaching and training people how to make content for any screen, whether it's your mobile phone or a big IMAX theater. And at our school, we have all of that. We've got an IMAX theater. I think we're one of only two educational institutions in North America that have like an IMAX theater on campus. We've got screening rooms all around the campus. And of course, our students are constantly on their mobile phones. And so we talk a lot about, how to create that content. And inevitably, that means that we talk a lot about what technologies are necessary for that. Recently we got in, and I'll show you a little video welcome from our dean using it, a big LED screen from Sony. And that screen is going to be used in our virtual production curriculum. So for those of you who might know, virtual production is the creation of background scenes, landscapes, even characters that are not physically on the set being shot, but are within a previously either created by video or by computer drawing technologies, and that are integrated in real time into the scene. And so that new technology is going to end up changing our curriculum. We're also doing a lot with research on AI. We just started an institute on AI to figure out how AI and how artificial intelligence is going to impact the creative process. And we know it will. It'll change the way that we work. And we just want to have best practices around that. And so our institutes, we have what we call a think tank called the Entertainment Technology Center, the ETC, and they are talking, of course, about technologies. And throughout our school, students, faculty, we're all talking about how technology impacts the work we do, how new technologies will change the work we do, and how it will impact the kinds of jobs that we have, the kinds of stories, primarily the kinds of stories that we tell. So at the School of Cinematic Arts, and we have a lot of famous alumni who have created technology-driven content. I'm going to spotlight two of them who are men. George Lucas, who created the Star Wars universe, and is our probably most famous alum, and one that the younger people might know, Ryan Coogler, who created the Black Panther universe. And the head of Marvel, his name's Kevin Feige, also went to our school. And then, of course, there are a lot of women who work in technology-driven fields in our work. I can name a dozen of them, but you may not know them. One of them I do want to highlight, and I'm going to show you a piece of her work. Her name is Olivia Peace, and she won the Student Academy Award last year for a piece of work that was very technologically driven. She's an animator, but instead of animating by hand drawing, she created a computer process to animate using the computer, because she wanted to take her pictures and drawings and run them through this algorithm and create a film that would simulate dreaming, because her film was about what she called luminous dreaming. So it's kind of like how you can train yourself to dream in very visual ways. And so she wanted the film that she made to reflect that. I'm going to try to share my screen to show you some videos about how we are using technology at the School of Cinematic Arts, because like I said, it is integral to everything we do. Before I do that though, a word about diversity and women in STEM. We recruit students very deliberately, and our cohorts coming in of students, and these are students applying from all over the United States and in many instances from other places in the world. We have Caribbean students, African, European, Chinese. We have a lot of Chinese and Indian students. But we are thinking deliberately about who they are and what they bring in terms of their lived experience that's going to help the other members of the cohort in terms of developing their own stories and giving them different perspectives, etc. So for us, that means that our cohorts have to be gender balanced. We don't have conversations about whether girls are prepared to tackle creating technology heavy content, because we know that they are. It's just a matter of just providing the training that everybody needs in order to be storytellers in a technology-driven media. In fact, a few years ago, our graduate class, so the master's students in our game design program were majority women. And this was such a surprise that one of the newspapers in Los Angeles did a story on it. But it wasn't a surprise to us because that is deliberate. We know that there are talented women who use technology to forward the cinematic arts. And we find them and we enroll them, and then they go out and they make amazing content like the piece that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show you, there are, in terms of our divisions that we have at the school, like I said, we do everything from writing to creating the content. And there are a couple divisions in particular, I would say 3 of them, that are very technology driven. Our interactive media and games. So these are people who are creating video games. So our students are thinking about the storytelling in the games and the way that they look and all that. And then they work with coders from our engineering school who are going to do the back-end coding for the games, and so that they can be viewed on screens. And that is a very integrative collaboration. And the game designers are, could be coders if they wanted to. They don't want to. The coders could be game designers if they wanted to. They don't want to. We don't think of anyone as, someone having to be smarter or more talented or any of that. It's about applying yourself to the field that you want to excel in. So yes, a lot of the arts is talent, but at the School of Cinematic Arts, we know that most of it is hard work. It is just a matter of, learning the language, if you will, of coding or of design, and then applying it over and over again until you become a master of whatever story you're trying to tell. So I'm going to show you. Okay, how do I share? Okay. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Okay. Can you see that? Oh, hold on. Jennifer, I'm looking for you for a thumbs up and if you can see us.
Program, we train students to get ready for a job in the games industry. The benefit of having our program housed in the School of Cinematic Arts is because good games are also all about storytelling. We train the students not only on the technical skills to make games, we also train them to think about original ideas, to find something that people haven't seen or played.
Traditionally, you think of, okay, video games, that must be what it is, but it's also board games and then immersive experiences, immersive theater, museum displays, things that interact, any type of interaction between an audience member and a designer that's got digital components can really start to be part of like interactive media.
We start you right away. You're making games from the very first week that you're here. You start in a class that's entirely like paper and board games to learn how to prototype, how to make games really quickly.
When you are like first starting out in the games program, I think it's very shocking that you're not immediately like thrust a computer and sent to code. It's part of understanding the fundamentals of games. And then you start taking coding classes, you take art classes, kind of figure out all the elements that go into a game. And as you start to put those together, you work on larger and larger teams. It starts very small, but it grows. And as you do that, you pick up all these like interesting and unique skills along the way.
You start adding skills, learning programming, learning level design, learning the production process. Also, I think really important here, you learn how to work with other people. Honor the days of one game designer or developer sitting in their basement and having out a game on their personal computer. You really do need to collaborate with a few or multiple people depending on the scale of the project that you're working on. The number one skill that we teach, not only the craft of making the thing that you're going to be making professionally, but it's also how to interact with people, how to get the best performance out of them, how to bring their creativity to bear so you can have the best outcome possible from the project.
One of the really cool things about USC is that you get to understand people's talents, you get to work with them, all of that collaboration then pays off later where you know like this person's an amazing engineer, like they absolutely should be working for this really cool game company. It feels great to not just help your friends out, but like help everyone make better work. Being in Los Angeles is such a benefit just because you're able to either go visit things, go intern at places without having to find a new apartment for the summer, and then also being able to meet really cool people.
If you're looking for the highest concentration of movie studios, production houses, game developers, game publishers, where a lot of arts and entertainment are created professionally, it's all in LA. School of Cinematic Arts, honestly, the games like benefit to me. I met my best friends in the whole world here. I met the people that I'm going to be working with the rest of my life. And I came back to teach here also because it was so important to me. I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to give that to somebody else.
So I'm sure you saw, you know, a lot of screens in that in that presentation. It's like you cannot be in the cinematic arts without using screens. And so that's, you know, we depend on technology, but we see them as tools for storytelling. And here's, I want to show you a little bit of Olivia's piece, just so that you can see like how she's using. This is the piece about dreams. And do you see, like, these are all based on her animation, her drawings, but she's used the computer program to make it, to give it this look, so that I'm going to mute it so that you can hear me talking about it. She's used the computer program to give it this look so that it can get like really feel like a dream. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So what I really want to communicate to you, especially to the younger people who might be thinking about, you know, how being a technologist could have real life applications, is that, as one of the other speakers said, you know, there's technology in everything. So even in the creation of technology, you're telling a story. If you're going to invent a piece of code to do something, it's because in your head, you kind of imagine what that end thing would be. wouldn't it be great if we had a computer program that allowed mothers and daughters to communicate about, fill in the blanks or whatever? Wouldn't it be great if we had a computer program that allowed us to see what was happening on the moon at all times? So it's, all of technology starts with a story. So whether the story leads you to be a technologist or whether the story leads you to be an artist, they come together in a way that, collaboratively can help us all tell greater stories about who we are as human beings. And that's why in my work, I always advocate for putting that A in STEM to make it STEAM, because even if we're purely working on the computer program or the piece of code or whatever, there's storytelling there. And that comes to us through our development as artists. Thank you. And I'm going to put the website for our school in the chat, and also my email for anyone who wants to connect.
Thank you, Ms. Philadelphia. As we transition into the question and answer segment, I encourage everyone in the audience to actively participate. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to type them in the chat. This is an excellent opportunity to engage with our speaker and gain deeper insights into the topics. My first question for you, Ms. What are some common challenges faced by professionals in the arts?
I think I would say the biggest challenge faced by people in the arts is not being confident that their story is one that other people want to hear. And so, it's kind of regardless of, whether you're a writer or a filmmaker, or, it's always that, will anybody want to read this? Will anybody want to see this? And I think that we have to remind each other that even though we are unique as individuals, we're universal in our humanity. And so there are definitely, I don't care what the story is, there are definitely people out there who would want to share that with you. If you're a technologist and you're thinking about building something, there are definitely people who want to go on that journey with you. It would just be a matter of finding them. But I do think that's the biggest hurdle that artists face.
Thank you, Ms. Philadelphia. My other question, what advice would you give to someone considering a career in the arts?
I would say the advice I would give is and this is something I say to anyone who is embarking on a project or a journey, is to think about what the end of the road looks like for you. So it's kind of like, ask yourself, why are you considering a career in the arts? So what is it that you want the world, the message that you want to put out there? What do you want the world to know? Why is it? And then answering that question might even help you to realize what kind of art you want to pursue, whether, it's drawing or writing or cinema. Even within some genres of art, like within writing, for example, because I'm a writer, there are stories that are better told as novels and stories that are better told as screenplays. There are stories that are better told even as writing a game journey. So I think it's always, answering that why for yourself will get you back to the how.
Thank you once again. My final question.
There's a question by Ms. Britton in the chat.
Yeah.
Is tension in the arts joining STEM to STEAM? What has been your experience in recent years? In the cinematic arts, because it's so apparent that the artists need the technologists and the technologists need the artists, we don't really have that problem so much. because, you know, it's like every filmmaker wants the latest camera and appreciates the people who were behind the scenes making that camera. A lot of our collaborations with companies at the School of Cinematic Arts or with technology companies. Our Entertainment Technology Center has members, and they're almost all technology companies, in addition to the big movie studios, which are storytelling companies. But those storytelling companies, like I said in that video that I showed, even though they were talking about telling stories, about collaboration, about very human artistic processes, in the background, proliferation of technology everywhere. There were screens and cables, and you know, so our field is very driven by technology. So I would say in the cinematic arts, no. But even in, for example, in writing, the computer has become our tool. I can't, you know, think of anyone who writes on a tab, you know, with paper and pen anymore. So I think it's becoming less. So going in the other direction, saying to technologists that you need artists is where there has been tension. But I think even there, they are beginning to realize, because you can't create something in a vacuum. You then have to know how to share it with the world. And that's where the artists come in, because we have the tools for getting your idea, your technology to everyone else who might need it.
Miss, there's one more question. Are there more Guyanese at USC pursuing cinematic arts?
Right now, I have not, I don't know any Guyanese who are at the School of Cinematic Arts specifically, but we have Guyanese at the university. And in fact, I am very involved in recruiting students to the school. So I'm always, you know, trying to get Caribbean students to understand that even though we are a big school, we're an expensive school, that there's a place here for you. We recruit students internationally, from, you know, from around the world. And so if you are you're a storyteller who wants to use the cinematic arts to tell your stories, there's a place here for you.
Thank you, Ms. Philadelphia.
Thank you for having me. It's great, thanks. And thank you to the other presenters too. It was really great hearing.
We have one final question in the chat. Does your school offer scholarships to youth in the Caribbean?
We don't offer scholarships specifically in the Caribbean, but we do have scholarships that international students qualify for. So if you're in the Caribbean and you're applying to the School of Cinematic Arts, you would qualify for those scholarships, yeah.
Thank you once again, Ms. Philadelphia.
Thank you.
Thank you. All three ladies, I realize we have three ladies today. Excellent presentations. I think we began with a writer who wanted to write about technology but was not into technology. We ended with a writer who was using technology and bringing it together with technology in a very fabulous way. And right in the middle, we had somebody who was telling us about why that diversity and inclusion matters, so having arts and people coming from the arts joining with the technologists to really bring the whole story together. I think it was a rich way to spend a Friday midday, and I hope all of you online still agree with me, and you can put some thumbs up and some claps for our three presenters today. It was a session where I was thinking, as everybody spoke, that each speaker needs an hour, and I'm not usually always thinking that in every presentation. So I want you ladies to bear that in mind. Thank you so much from on behalf of the CARICOM Girls and ICT Partnership. We will definitely be calling on you again, and I hope that you will be just as willing, I think you will be, to give a wider presentation to a different type of audience. As I shared and listened, I could see that each presenter did very intense and specific research. And I thank you ladies so much. I'm going to be going back into the slides. I saw things that I want to use already. Part of the goal of the partnership is that we want to pull some of this career discussion into policy. And I thank you again for the time you've taken to deliver it in such a small bite, but powerful information and articulation of the subjects that you brought to us today. I want to say thanks specifically to you, Ms. Webb. Thank you for your presentation in your book. We'll look for it on Amazon and try to promote it as much as we can via the CARICOM website. Kim Spencer, we've known each other for a long time. I will be reaching out again so that we can do some continued work in Diana and Ms. Lisa Philadelphia, also somebody who I've known for a long time, and bringing all of, I think what we wanted to bring in this session, moving from STEM to STEAM, and how a lot of that collaboration can still bring joy and happiness, whether you're on one side of the coin or the other. As usual, all of these productions don't take one person or one person's thinking. Some names are on the screen. I always include Utica Owls, who does the flyer and sending out things to everyone. Although our participation may be low in the room, I want you to know that we are also going to be putting it on the website of CARICOM, CARICOM Secretariat, CARICOM, www.caricom.org. And we will be inviting our partners also to share the link as the series continues and certainly when it ends, so that more schools and teachers and parents can go back and look at the presentation, see the links you shared, the information you shared, and hopefully continue the conversation. We thank you again. Disa, thank you for waking up so early this morning. We appreciate it a lot and look forward to your continued contribution to this important process for girls and boys in the Caribbean community. I thank all of you. Have a good weekend. We do have a holiday on Monday, and we plan to enjoy this Diwali here in Guyana. And looking forward to it, all of us who will be doing these Friday sessions. I want to thank particularly our moderators. I said youngest person in the room. I think she'll be the youngest person in the whole series. And I think she did a very good job. So if you'll join me in doing some claps, putting some thumbs up, and obviously our future is in good hands if we can have a 17-year-old moderator take us through a complex session like this. She prepared our questions, she listened, and we continue to ask for your support to support the youth as we move forward with this series and other initiatives which we hope to engage them with. So thank you all again. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to reaching out with you and working with you in different ways, presenters and moderators, as we move forward. Thank you all and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.